Hi guys, welcome to the show. My guest today is BJJ Black Belt Professor Marc Ste-Marie.
It's time to high five and fist bump. A Jiu Jitsu podcast for the everyday grappler. Let's talk subs. Let's talk positions. Let's talk dominating the mats. Welcome to the Let's Talk Jiu Jitsu podcast with Raymond Terrence.
We're good.
Man,
Ready?
hit me.
All right. Thanks for jumping in, Marc.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
That's right.
Yeah. So how's the hip? You just got a hip replacement.
Oh, you know what? It's great. It's such a release, you know, like all that pain, all those years and stuff.
How long did you wait for the... So you had both hips, well, one hip
Right.
done and then another hip done. How long did you wait? Like, how did you notice the first hip? Like, was it just like out of the blue pain? Or?
No. For 12 years, I've been having like a problem, and I figured, you know what? Nobody thinks about hip replacement. You know, you say, I didn't even explore that. And then, you know what? It's like, it got worse. And you know how it is? It trickles to your knees. Then you think because you're walking kind of funny. So I went to see an orthopedic surgeon, and I did some diagnostic things like x-rays and stuff like that. And he goes, dude, you need both hips. And back then my right one was worst. So he goes, we can take a chance, because I wanted that all kinds of plans. You know, I wanted to do the more World's Jiu-Jitsu Championship. And I figure, okay, so I'll do the right one, and I'll try some injections on the left one in the meantime.
Okay.
So I did the right one, and I did the right one, and it was rehab is good because I was eligible to have it done from the front, the anterior method they call.
Okay.
And that makes rehab easier. They don't cut through tissue like don't cut through muscle ligaments, or they just stretch everything aside. So it's fine, you know. So I got it done, and first I had injection put there on my right side. It worked for a few months, and then the injection stopped working. So I decided I'll get it done. There's no choice, you know. There's no pointless getting upset about it. It has to be done.
Yeah.
So so I got it done, and then the other hip started. You know, thing is that everything that's around your hip and your waist affects you in everything you do. You know, you sit, you stand, you do this, you do that.
Right.
And so I try. Okay, I'm going to do injections on the other side, and it's a gamble, because if they inject, they cannot operate for 6 months after.
Okay.
So the doctor said, if we don't inject, we schedule the surgery. And since I was eligible to get it done on a day surgery, there's only 4 to 6 months wait for me. If I have to stay at the hospital, you're talking about over a year.
Wow.
So anyway, I said, okay, so I'll gamble with the injection, because I wanted to do the no-gi worlds. I did the gi worlds. I'd like to do the no-gi worlds. But why? Because why not? I've done the once. Because at my age, I'm 60 years old, so I don't know how many of those competition I have in me. You know?
Right.
So I took a gamble on the injection on my left hip. Didn't work at all. And anyway, so I had to wait, and I went to see my surgeon. I tried 2-3 months if I could suck it up, because I really wanted to start training for the Worlds. And didn't work. So I said, okay, let's pencil in the surgery, and took 6 months about, and got it done. But what a relief, man. It's
Just
like
a few weeks ago.
It was on March 16th.
March 16th. Bring the filter, if you can, a little closer to the mic. This big round thing, just slide it like closer
Like
to
this?
the mic. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Sorry. So I was, so I got it done.
So it's been a month and a half.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, you know what? It's like I went to the rehab once. So my physio said, well, you know, you're done after a month. He goes, you're a month in, but your rehab is about 9 weeks in with what I can do. Well, it's discipline and stuff. The problem is with physiotherapy and athletic therapy is that people give you homework. If you don't do them,
Yeah, and you're not going to go
it's
anywhere.
a lifetime membership. You're gonna keep going to the physio. So
Yeah.
I knew already what the first few days of physios were. So I started doing them before I saw the physio because of my other experience.
You knew. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I was looking back on it, you know, because you got a lot of time. You can't do too much at the beginning. And I was thinking, like, I've done like one leg jiu-jitsu for like 10 years, you know, yeah.
But this hip seemed to be, so the second one that you got done, the most recent one, seemed to be worse than the first one, because I think everyone saw it at Jiu-Jitsu. You know, whenever we saw you at class, it degraded. Like, you were teaching Jiu-Jitsu to the point where, like, you can barely walk across the mats type of thing. Like, we saw it right in you, and it looked a lot worse than the first time around.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? It's like, some people, maybe you should stop teaching. No, I said, that was my sanity, man. It's like, if I stop this, I'm going to disintegrate, you know? Yeah. Also, I had prescription for opioids and stuff. I'm not taking that. I have a friend who waited 1.5 years for his back surgery, and surgery was great, but then the 6 weeks of detox after was bad, so I'm not touching that. So I was in pain 24/7, you know, so it grinds you down emotionally and stuff, so... But the surgery is instant relief. Now I just feel tight. I feel like I'm walking around. Let's say you bunch a t-shirt, you put it in your front pocket.
It's just like a tightness.
Yeah, I feel it's tight and stuff. It's going to loosen up and things.
Okay. So have you, I guess you haven't rolled at all?
No, you're kidding. I'm not close to that now. So it's like, I'd say to walk normally and stuff, I'd say takes about like, 6 weeks or something. Okay. Just about now. I'm kind of walking normally.
You're driving now too.
Yeah. If I sit for a while, I'll limp the first few steps. But for jiu-jitsu, I'd say at least 20 weeks. Okay. But you know what? It's like, I'm okay with that. I'm not, like my physio told me the most dangerous time is between 12 and 20 weeks because you think you're good. Okay. So it's like there's a difference between walking and doing your day-to-day activity and rolling. Mind you, I don't roll like I used to roll. So I've made my peace with that. You know. Like
and you're going in for the long term, right? You don't want to jump in too soon because know that. No.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're still teaching. Are you still teaching the early morning classes?
Of course.
Yeah. How's that going?
Good. It was so good to get back on the mat. It's
So you teach, just for people that don't know, you teach Monday morning 7 a.m., Wednesday morning 7 a.m., and Friday morning 7 a.m. for the adults.
And then all the kids program.
So that's afterwards.
Well, I haven't started in Vaudreuil yet, so there's like so now in West Island there's 3 hours on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and next week I'm going to start in Vaudreuil plus Paul-Études in the afternoon.
Wow.
The school program. So for people who don't know,
do you find that the early morning crowd, that it's a different type of person training in the morning? Like, do you go about teaching in a different way if you were teaching a 7 a.m. class, where if you were to teach a 7 p.m.
it's like class? It's like people come in the morning. A lot of them are parents or business people. Mm-hmm. So I said, make the 7 a.m. class your lab. Like when you roll, experiment. Don't turn it into a white knuckle grind here. It's like try some stuff. Mm-hmm. The problem is I find with jiu-jitsu in a pedagogical. I don't remember.
Yeah, you know the French word.
And on a point of vue pédagogique.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like a lot of people shortchange themselves when they roll by being obsessed with winning the roll that they're not expanding their game. They're staying stagnant.
Yeah.
And I was like that as a blue belt. I mean, I gotta say it. It's like for me, it's like I was just like I'm gonna blast in there, you know. But I was lucky because of injuries. They forced me to do some other things. Every time, you know, I always joke around. Every time I got injured, my game got better.
Yeah.
I had no bottom game. I smacked 4 toes. And next thing you know, I had to play on my back for a few months. No, I mean, it's like, you know, so I say, people have to manage their training week. And I said, you need to find a formula, especially when you're a master.
Yeah.
I cannot do like I did as a blue belt, go for white knuckle rolls 5 days a week. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I roll with Lee, living Nev Hiley. I roll with him about 5, 6, sometimes 7 times a week. And you know, I always try my best. I know I was going to get murdered, but the idea is, it's like, you know, now you got to find the formula. I tell my morning guys, pick a time. There's a time when you're getting ready, and there's a time to experiment and play. So I was trying to create a climate of playfulness in the morning. Like, let's try this. So guys, I'm going to try to play Lasso Spider today. You know, I got murdered, haha. But that's the way it is, you know. It's like
I like that group of guys that you have too, because, you know, I'm in that WhatsApp group with you guys too, and I find there's such a camaraderie between them that you might not see in other groups, because there's just, you know, always different people coming in. But at 7 a.m., it's always the same people that are there. They're there every class,
right?
And they're, they're filming each other rolling. They're giving each other feedback. They're like talking about, wow, you caught me with this. That was really good. How did you do that? I find that's really cool.
Right. Well, because you don't coach people like my daughter and people like regular schmoes like me. Like I always joke around, say I'm a garage league black belt. Like, it's like, don't think I'm going to go out and they're not going to make a YouTube highlight reel with my jiu-jitsu. But so I said, there's two things I tell them. You need a formula if you're a master. Like, for example, with my hip, I know I was good for one hard roll a week. Then I could go for other roles specific and stuff. And good training partner, like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to say this. When I was a blue belt, somebody would have get me a break in a roll, I would have been insulted.
Right.
And now, Christ, I like it.
Yeah.
And I love it when they go out there. They go, oh man, that was awesome and stuff. Dude, it's okay. I know. It's like, maybe the dogfight was not what it should have been. But I'm okay. I'm fine because you know what? You have to be, as you get older and you want to practice the sport that you love, you have to be grateful you're able to do it.
Yeah. You used to talk a lot about your roles when with Will.
Yeah,
which is one of our black belts.
Yeah,
but at the time he was a purple or a brown, and you guys would
Wednesday afternoon. We go 3 hours in a row at lunchtime.
Yeah,
but it was not white knuckle rolling, but we had fun. We played music, and we just rolled. And we talk like about current affairs as we roll. But I mean, it's like honestly, it's like I said, I'm not training to beat Mika Galvao or something like this.
Right.
So I tell people, dude, you're masters. Get over yourself. Do as best as you can. Do as best and find the formula. Like, how many tough rolls a week can I do? White knuckle rolls.
Yeah.
And how many softer rolls you can do and roll with the right partners.
For longevity in
That's
jiu-jitsu,
right. Because, and you know what? I remember when I got ready for the Worlds in 2019, I really liked the way I prepared. I didn't roll hard until about 4 weeks before. Then I had a few more hard roll, but not enough to wear myself out.
Yeah.
And I felt I was ready. But I mean, listen, if I'm going to ADCC, am I going to do this? I'm going to Las Vegas for the Worlds every 2 years. That training method is not going to get you there.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, you have to be happy you're still able to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, be happy. Like, listen, I'm 60 years old, okay? I'm banged up still. Besides my hip, I got degenerative disc disease. I got no ACL on one side, no MCL, no meniscus. So you know what? The younger brown belts and black belt, they're gonna kick my ass. No, but seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, if I taught these guys and they're not doing it, I failed as a teacher. Mm-hmm. You understand? So why would I get upset?
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I'm always gonna roll because I don't care. I just tap and laugh and go back again.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So if you're a master, be happy you're there. Mm-hmm. Be happy you're able to hang around with younger guys, talk shit with them, and be on the mat and have fun. This is why you're doing this. I'm not paying my bills with this.
Yeah.
And nor do I expect to pay my bills with this. So I want to go to the World's no-gi. Hopefully hopefully it'll be this December or whatever, or maybe the next year. I don't care. I'll wind up there. But Master 7 is the Viagra category. It's like, it's not a problem. It's like, we're on the same boat. There's nobody there with boat knees and boat hips. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a garage league.
Yeah.
So I said, just be happy you're doing jiu-jitsu, man, and stop fussing and expand your game.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it took me 14 years to figure that out. It took me until I got black to figure out I need to keep doing this because I just like jiu-jitsu, and I need to enjoy
That's right.
going and just rolling with no expectation.
That's right.
And I think that's what's keeping me going now. And I mentioned this in a previous episode. The issue for me is when I got my black, I felt like, what do I do now?
I was terrified when I got my black.
Yeah, I freaked out. I took 2 months off after I got my black. I don't know if you noticed. I was in there for 2 months after December.
Right.
For January and February, I didn't go to jiu-jitsu once because I went to jiu-jitsu once right after I got my black belt. And after that, I took 2 months off. I literally was like, I need something now. I need to figure out what is going to keep me going to jiu-jitsu. It's not a belt thing anymore. It's not a stripe thing anymore. Like, why am I going to jiu-jitsu? And I needed to like run through that in my head to keep my sanity. And I figured it out. And it was exactly that. It was, I need to go to jiu-jitsu because I like socializing. I like hanging out with the guys that are there. I've built all these relationships over so many years, and I enjoy jiu-jitsu.
That's right.
Can't I just accept that that's enough? You know what I mean? So, but it took me.
That's right. Well, I'd love to tell you I was smarter, but it took me a lifetime. Don't forget, I never was a good athlete. I competed. I made some big teams, not on skills. I made it on pure grit. I was a honey badger. Mm-hmm. So here's a guy who's slow. I was like strong in a specific kind of way, but not like a explosive sprinting stuff like that. And I made the team because I would tear myself up to finish a takedown, or if it was martial arts or whatever, hockey, football. I was an undersized linebacker who played like I was 250. Paid a price for that. But anyway, the idea is like for me, changing that mentality was huge. But I remember getting every promotion I got, I said, what the fuck? Oh my God, Jesus. I got my black belt. I'm like this. It's Fabio, Cascaoli, these guys. And I'm looking at my belt saying, oh, motherfucker, what am I doing here? I kept telling your friend, I think, oh, we can wait. There's no rush. The same thing with brown belt. I said, oh, man, I'm a brown belt now. Oh, crap. Yeah. I never was, that hung up on that. So, and now, I got the black belt. And you know what? Like I said, just be happy you're there, man. It's like, just don't turn that into, and tap for God's sake. Like, don't, when you're a masters and you get hurt because you try to get out of a submission, my sympathy meter is at 0. Like, you know what? Be intelligent. And if you want to work a live escape, that's the policy in my 7 a.m. class. Yep. Arm extends, tap right away, say, hold the position, and then try to get out. He's just going to hold the position without extending to a point where you get injury, and battle this like a dog.
And then jiu-jitsu continues.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I tell people, I said, heel hook the crap out of each other, but as soon as the bite is in, and then you know what? Tell a guy, hold the position, and then you can try rolling, clear the knee line, whatever you do to escape heel hooks. And like that, you can safely work and escape without getting a limb torn out,
Yeah.
It's like, give me a break. When your neck's going the wrong way, man, it's like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Just bail.
It's funny because I watch all these events on Flow and on UFC Fight Pass, and I see, and maybe it's just my perception, but I see more and more injuries happening in jiu-jitsu now than before. And I don't know if people have more to prove, if there's more money on the line, or if it's...
Listen, put 60 grand prize money, that changes things.
Right.
And you know what? Don't forget, this generation of jiu-jitsu athlete, they're the ones who can make a living out of it. Mm-hmm. In the past, you know how many good guys are in Brazil that you don't hear about because they can't travel? They don't have sponsors or whatever and stuff like that. There's a lot of good guys you don't hear about. Mm-hmm. And now it's possible to make a living out of it. So now it's different. Throw in the prize money, and you know what? You might, I don't know, I'm creating a fictitious scenario here, but let's say you're ahead on, look at Romulo Barral. He's ahead on point. The guy grabs that famous foot lock, a toe hold. Yep. So he's ahead. It's like, it's IBJJF. IBJJF doesn't pay shit anyway, but anyway, so, I mean, you know what? I'm not in the guy's kin at this point and stuff like that, but I tell people, don't sacrifice, don't hurt yourself because you want to finish that tournament and sacrifice the rest of the year.
Especially if you're doing a local tournament and you're just a casual grappler and you go a few times a week. It's not worth it because then you're out for 6 months and you're injured and you can't do anything.
Exactly.
Or you're limited in what you can do.
That's right. Yeah. So, you know what? It's like just understand where you're at, where you want to go, and what this sports represent for you.
Yeah. You were talking about how you like... that you found this, like, you're just happy you're rolling. You're just happy that you're on the mats. Did you have that mentality when you went to Worlds in 2019? Like, did you that mentality of, I'm going there to have fun?
I'm going there. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? I said, I'm going there I went there to identify. Where are my holes? And I mean, you don't want, it's like competing is awesome because it's an identifier. You know, so I'm going there against guys because, you know, why the Worlds and not SAU? Because at my age, at the Worlds, I get people in my bracket. Right. If I go SAU, they'll put me with guys your age.
Yeah, SAU being a local tournament.
Right, that's right.
Right.
So they'll put me with people your age. Go at the Worlds, I'll be with other 60-year-old guys.
Right.
So I went there for a bunch of reasons. I thought it'd be cool to sign up in the same tournament. Well, my daughter did the Las Vegas Open, but it was all ran at the same time in the same venue. I thought it'd be fun to sign up with the same tournament as my kid. And I went there, I said, this is going to be fun. I had a blast the whole time. So I won the first match and lost the second. I forgot the clock. I didn't listen to you. I thought I was alone, so I blocked out everything so I couldn't hear you scream. But, you know, people say, oh, don't worry about it. I'm not worrying about it. I had a blast.
Yeah.
I had a blast. So I want to do it again because it was fun. Tournaments are identifiers. Because it's different. You go against people, you don't know their games and stuff. And you know what? That will expose the holes in your game real quickly.
And then there's a whole experience factor. You know, you get to travel, you get to meet new people, you get to possibly go as a small group, right? And, you know.
That's the whole thing, the whole clique around it. There was Gumby, Gumbao, all these guys were there, and we're all like checking in the morning. I said, no, the whole thing was positive. I didn't care about, you know, so what? I lost the second max. Like, you know, so that's why I have zero problem. Like I never felt bad down or say, you know, I was looking at the match and saying, oh my God, I can't believe I opened my legs there, but I'm laughing about it. You know, it's it's like, it's easy. I always says, I never make a mistake when I'm sitting in my lazy boy watching Flo. And I said, what did he do? But you know what? It's like, I don't make mistakes when I comment from there, but when your head's being twisted into the mat, it's a different animal. And with the whole thing around it, because I remember at the Worlds when they called me for my first fight, I'm standing there and then I'm going, God, I got to pee. But I only peed 8 times so far in the past half hour. So I'm going like this and I'm saying, wow, I haven't felt that in a long time.
Yeah.
This is great. And then my legs started to go jello. So that's why it doesn't show if I do a few squats. I said, crap, my fingers are numb.
Time to put some blood down there.
But as soon as you grab the first grip, you're on. And it was kind of wild because I remember, it reminded me once I was watching one of the late night shows and you had singer Carly Simon, which is not maybe your generation, and she was there and the other guest was Bruce Springsteen. And the host, was it Jay Leno? I don't remember. Anyway, he tells Carly Simon, you don't do live. You say you don't like doing live. Oh, she goes, I don't like live. I feel weird. I got butterflies. I got tunnel vision. I got a dry mouth and everything and stuff. And then Bruce Springsteen says, I feel the same, but I thought it's because I was getting excited about it. So pressure on a schmo does this. The same pressure on Michael Jordan does this. It's the same pressure.
Right.
So I didn't feel pressure when I was just happy to be there.
Yeah.
I'm in freaking Las Vegas at the Worlds, man. And remember this, when I started Jiu Jitsu with Lee at TKO a long time ago, was it 2008? I don't remember. If officially, because I've been grappling since 89 about, and you know what? When I started, you would have told me I'm going to get a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. I would have laughed in your face. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, yeah, what? Get a black belt, eh? But, and you know, things just happen. And I like what Phil said once. He said, somebody asked him, where'd you get to do a black belt? Somebody asked him. And he said, I showed up. It's going to come. But don't put a timeline on it. Just show up and at some point, you know what? It's like, you get it. It's like, so it is like, it's a big deal and it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Are you, so now you're just teaching right now and you're kind of waiting to, I guess, be able to roll.
Yeah.
You get a lot out of teaching too, right? Because you're not just teaching the adults, you're teaching the kids classes. Right. Do you find that now with the kids, because they're super young, right? So you have these kids. So, I was going to ask you, where do you see jiu-jitsu going with these young kids?
Oh my God.
But it's going to be a completely different level, right?
It's very simple. Remember when Nicky Ryan came on the scene? Oh my God, he's 14, he's beating up. Like, this is going to be the norm. Yeah. Be nice to those kids. I'm looking at what they're doing right now. And and it's right away. Like, you know that we have on the wall our moves, our sequence, we call it, for people which are not familiar. We have kids that, well, Daniel and C1, for example, now they're blue belts, but they were green belts. They knew the entire curriculum from A to Z. They're much better blue belt than I ever was.
Right.
So these kids now are, see, like, we play hockey here. We're a hockey culture. We start playing hockey when they're 3. So if you go in a country, they start playing hockey where they're 10. When they both hit 16 years old, you don't get the same thing. And now what happens that the game is elevating. This is why now, when Nicky Ryan did his stuff, people were ooh ah. And now, many times you hear that a blue belt took out a 16-year-old blue belt beat Roberto Jimenez.
Yeah.
So this is not a blue belt like I was.
Yeah.
You're talking about a different animal right here.
What are your thoughts on that? On these on this whole no-gi situation where it's, you know, a blue belt signing up for advance, or, you know, doing all these fights against black belts. Like, are belts even relevant at that point?
Well, you know what? It's like, look, no-gi is okay. This is my opinion about this. Okay. No-gi, I find, for me, with my orthopedic issue, easier than gi. Because gi, when somebody grabs the fabric, you're committed.
Yeah.
I describe it like this. Gi is like a marriage. You engage, you got to make it work. No-gi is like a one-night stand in the back of the cab. You don't like it, you step out and you re-engage. You try again with someone else, right? So you try. So what happens is that I think gi is chess and no-gi is checkers. The challenge are different. I hate to compare because, but until you perform at a high level gi and all the potential of the guards and the this and the that because of the gripping, right? You can't get away. I mean, I step in your guard, I'm in, dude. That was my problem. When I started doing a lot of no-gi, my problem is that I would engage, it wouldn't work well. I try to make it work. And somebody, I think it was Gamboa, says, just get out and we start over again, you know?
Yeah.
So that, I think, it's a good question. I would have to think about this more to answer this, but I would think that the idea that in no-gi you can bail out, you can run out, can re-engage. And don't forget, some of those lower belts that do so well, they're not green. When you have a guy that wrestled in high school at a high level, and stuff like that, so that all affects that, you know.
Yeah.
But what happened with no-gi also is that no-gi became presented more opportunity. A lot of guys went to no-gi not because they hated gi, because this is where the money was.
Do you think it's gonna stick? It's gonna stay like that? Do you think no-gi, there's always gonna be more opportunity now?
Well, what happens now? I think. Listen, I'm not following the BJJF that much, but they came up with Grand Prix and stuff like this because you know what? When a guy, a top black belt, has to sign up for a tournament, pay for his hotel, and pay for the flight to go compete. And then he's going to go at who's number one. They're going to pay your flight, your hotel, give you a decent room. You get an appearance fee and a win bonus. My choice is easy if I want to make a living out of this.
We're going no-gi, yeah.
Right, okay. So, and here's what's interesting. Have you noticed that guys that do exceptionally well in gi transfer to no-gi, takes them 3 months and they're on top of the pile?
Yeah.
The opposite will not happen. If a guy who specialized in no-gi from day one, in my opinion, you want to transfer to gi 10 years later, it's going to take a long time until you can deal with everything that's happening in there.
Right.
Look at Margali was the proof. Like, you know, so he switches to no-gi.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Yeah. So I think in no-gi, the rules, once you're engaged, you don't have to deal with lasso spider combos and this and that and all that stuff that happens with the gripping and stuff. So
a little bit more of a level playing field, even if you're a blue belt or a purple belt going against a black, because I don't want to say less options, right? I would say, or it's more, the techniques are more concentrated.
That's right. Not only that, the dogfight in gi is horrendous.
Yeah.
You can't disengage.
Yeah.
So when you're on your back, like I remember there's some moves we do from butterfly and we say you need to stand up to finish because the guy will just turn and run away. Now in no-gi, that's easy. You do that, the guy just turns, start hopping on one leg, pull his legs out, and his leg out, and he's away.
Yeah.
In gi, that shit's not happening. You got the freaking pants here, bro. It's like you see a lot of scrambles. I was watching some matches that some of the jiu-jitsu geeks I created on my 7 a.m. class there, and you see a guy sweeping or passing, and they're basically dogfighting for about 1 minute and 10 seconds until somebody winds up on top.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen in no-gi.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's like it's a different animal.
Yeah.
But
what's your take on people getting dinged now in IBJJF for
the doping thing?
Yeah, all this steroid use and this and that. That they're, again, I haven't done too much research on the whole who they're testing and who they're not. But the last time I checked, are they not only testing gold medalists and not testing silver medalists?
You know what?
Medalists,
what bothers me about the whole doping thing, any sports, like it'll be the Olympics, whatever, is the hypocrisy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people who complain of doping get caught the next month or something. And don't forget, is it an unfair advantage when everybody dopes? No, you're on the same playing field. Right? So either, it's like those guys that want to, the big no-gi tournaments don't test. So why should you not dope? If I put myself in that mindset,
right.
You're going to take the high road. Let me tell you something. It's like, it's not going to work. So as per the IBJJF, I think they if I recall, and somebody will probably comment and correct me, I think it was a surprise test. USADA showed up and said, hey, piss in the jar.
It is, yeah.
So this was almost like an ambush.
Right.
Okay. So was it right to do it or so? We can debate that. That's fine. But was I surprised that all these guys, I got a plane to catch, I'm out of here. So I was reading a great book. If you're interested about Speed Trap, it's a book written by Charlie Francis, which was Ben Johnson, his trainer. And he said in his book, he says, you don't dope to win, you dope to be there. You're not even going to participate.
Right.
And the shenanigans, like, people have to be honest here. You want to see the freaks, you want to see the this, you want to see that. I mean, yeah. Okay. But it's like I remember one year that in weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, clean and jerk and all that. One year leading up to the World Championship, that was a long time ago, they were very aggressive in testing. They were starting to get rabid about this. And none of the lifters came within like 5 kilos or 10 kilos of winning a record. So the same journalists that bitch about doping, right? The era of great lifters is dead.
Right.
Dude, you had the first clean world championship and probably the only one since the 60s, and you're bitching?
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to see a guy win the Olympics, win the 100 meter in 10.01? So you got to be careful here, like,
and I guess my concern is these 18, 19-year-old and 20-year-old jiu-jitsu prodigies who are now in a situation that are like, well, everyone...
They got a decision to take. It happened to some relative of mine. Like, they were competing at a high level, and kid was dominating in the juniors, and when he went seniors, he got the same program as the other teammate on Team Canada Junior, and then suddenly the season start, he's not even in the game. And he goes, the guys show up after the summer. You're not even looking at the same person. So his dad told him, you gotta take a decision here. So, I mean, this isn't easy for you and I to take because we're not involved in this, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to comment and be judgmental on this, but that's what it is, man. It's like, no jokes. A long time ago in Montreal, a hockey coach, bantam kids, was giving his kids Sudafed before the game.
What does that do?
Well, it can jack you up a bit, add like a stimulant.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're 14-year-old kids. They're giving him a Sudafed before the game.
Right.
So there's nothing on the line. I can understand when there's thousands of dollars, it's your livelihood. It's one thing. But I can juice as much as I want. I mean, I'm not beating Gordon Ryan, even if I get bigger than him. You understand? So it's like don't forget, if your jiu-jitsu is top line and you juice, sure. If you're an 18-year-old kid who's training in a gym and you said, like, my best thing a long time ago when we had the Abu Dhabi in Montreal, this blue belt gets murdered. I don't know what team or whatever, it's irrelevant. He gets back to his coach and he goes, Jesus, I got to get stronger. And his coach, just the biggest eye roll you've ever seen. You just got to stop doing stupid jiu-jitsu. It's like, that summed it up pretty much. So, I mean, don't forget, this is not our scenario because we're not there. We're masters with this and that. But at that level, man, it's like you're not going to make it on wonky jiu-jitsu and big arms.
Yeah.
So if it gets to the point, there's money on the line.
And that's the only thing that's making the
I'm
difference.
not supporting you, but I'm not, again, condemning you either.
Right.
It's too easy. It's we fall in dans la facilité. Là.
Yeah.
C'est trop facile. So that's what it is.
I wanted to ask you about, because I was having a conversation with Chris, who does jiu-jitsu with us, right? The brown belt Chris.
Okay, brown belt Chris. Okay, right.
And we were talking, and we were both saying the same thing, but I wanted it to come out of you. Because we're talking about that conversation we had about this funnel that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So you explained the funnel to me in one way, and I think you explained it to me in the way that was relatable to me. And
right.
you did the same thing to him.
But his funnel's different.
But his funnel's different. So maybe just explain this funnel concept, because people have been asking me nonstop about this funnel concept. So
all right, guys. So remember this: my box set is coming out. It's going to be $750 for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, here's how it works. It's like I was told by Cascal, by Leo. Hi, Leo. He says, if you want to, big boss, if you want to win the world, you need just one pass, one sweep, one takedown, one guard pull, one submission. And I just realized rolling with him, because don't forget, when Leo came, we all leveled up.
Yeah.
Because he exposed us to that top shelf jiu-jitsu that being in Montreal and West Island, we're not in LA where there's,
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, so I realized when I roll with him, he always passed my guard the same way. It was one guard pass. Everybody you roll with, he passed the guard the same way. Then I realized what he was good at is not knowing 10 guard passes. Is that he could take any scenario when he's on top and put the technical thing in a funnel, and it would come out, force his guard pass at the end. His lapel sweep, same thing. So whatever guard he had, you know that before he did anything, he funneled everything in his favorite move. So this is what I mean by funneling. Funneling is just, I always say narrow and deep is better than wide and flat. I'm not worried about, he knows 10,000 submission. You know what? I'm worried about a guy who knows one submission can do it 10,000 different ways.
Right.
Do you
think people should be doing that at a certain level?
Yes, because at the beginning, always makes me laugh. A blue belt said, well, my game is, dude, you don't have a game yet.
Right.
The way I roll now is nowhere close the way I rolled in the past. So at the beginning, you got to learn, because if you want to destroy something, learn how it works first.
Right.
Right? So, do I look like a De La Riva player? No. But at some point I said, I had a hard time, so I'm going to learn De La Riva so I can kill it. So for 3 months, played De La Riva. I got murdered. I was a mad bitch. Oh my God. But you know what? When I realized the key, what makes it work, I knew where to short circuit. So you can, funneling, whether it's a pass or a sweep, I'm going to force a half guard smash. I'm going to grab your head, and your head's going to go in a different direction as your hips. And then I'm going to pass. So my challenge is not doing my pass. My challenge is to get to my pass. And this is where that funnel comes through. So whatever your game is, whatever anybody's game is, I want to create a scenario that everything goes in, all the technical stuff goes in, and at the end it comes out.
You're spitting out that pass.
On my thing. And you know what? It's like, suddenly it becomes, like myself, I'm not going to beat a guy with agility. So odds are when I'm in half guard, I'll pinch your bottom leg between my knees, create a 90-degree handle, and then dive for your head. Look at what Brianna does, right?
Yeah.
So, and once, you know what, guys, anybody shows you a move on social media, on YouTube, me, when I look at the move, a sweep, I said, okay, how many times in the demonstration, the grips and the this and that, did the guy open a channel to his head?
Right.
And suddenly, some of the stuff that looks cool and sexy, he said, this is bullshit. Because there was 3 opportunities that a guy could have snapped up the head. Trust me, somebody grabs your head, it's game over. Yeah. Right? This is why it's so hard. When I used to roll with Leo, I never got to his head ever. Yeah. Okay? So this is where the science is. So I tell people, stop being obsessed with adding so much things. You know what Hicks' law is?
No.
Okay, hopefully I'm going to not misquote this, but in the 60s, I think there was a professor called Hicks. And he was don't quote me on that, sports psychologist and a mathematician at the same time. And he did a study where the result is like, the more response you know for a specific stimuli, the slower your reaction time. So a guy who knows 1 arm bar escape that does it well, probably going to escape more than a guy who knows 20 arm bar escapes. And he even came up with a mathematical formula. He put this in numbers. Now I'm lost. Okay, so don't. Yeah. But Hicks' law, the more response they have to specific stimuli, the slower your reaction time. Remember the Terminator movie? He walks into the hotel or something, and the guy says, "Oh, can I help you?" Then he goes, multiple choice. Then he goes, "Fuck you." You know?
And you see it in people when they're doing jiu-jitsu. You see it in their head sometime, right?
Yeah, so if you roll and you start going multiple choice in your head, you will be behind. Yeah. Action always faster than reaction.
And there's so many techniques in every single position that you can't go through that giant Rolodex all the time.
So how do you beat that? You have to learn, at some point, you got to learn concepts. Concepts it's not like a technique you're learning. Now, what I find amusing a lot is when there's a trend in jiu-jitsu. Everybody goes, leg locks, 50% of the body and stuff. But you know what kills me? Now they're forgetting the other 50%.
Yeah.
So they're not doing 100%. They're doing 50%. They're doing...
Which Brianna has been capitalizing on for so many years.
She snaps their head when they're coming into entangle. Yeah. So what's great about this is that there's a Latin saying called reductio ad absurdum. A concept gets pushed so far that it becomes ridiculous. But what's good about jiu-jitsu or any sport is that people tip into that, and then after it gets cleaned out and the cream stays on top. Yeah. So now suddenly you look at the leg lockers now, the shit slipped off the plate, and now the leg lock kicking is impeccable. Now we saw that now. I look at, for a while, Baron Bolo was all about inverting and this and that, and look at the way they're boloing now. It's different. Yeah. So the whole thing tip into like borderline. This doesn't make sense. And then you know what? And now look at it now. What's happening? It's normal evolution of sports. It gets over the top and then it gets cleaned out. So this is what it is, So but if you learn conceptually, what's conceptually? I've seen sometime so much bad grappling. Because I don't care. If I win the hips, I win the fight. So me, when I roll, if I roll with you, I say, okay, I'm not thinking about, I need him flat on his back in half guard. That's the concept. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I'll grab some stuff. So when I grab something, it's because I know that that's going to help. So what am I going to do? I don't know. But I want you both shoulders pinned.
You understand the concept.
Now, right. Just simple. The only way you score in jiu-jitsu with points or you submit is usually the result of a pin. I don't want to sound like John Danaher, but look. It's like anybody pinned your hip, pinned your shoulder. You don't score a point. You want to pass a guard at BJJF. If you don't pin the guy after, there's no points.
Yep.
Right? You want to take a guy down. You can just throw him down and walk away. No. You got to pin him after. So how can you do jiu-jitsu and at a high level and not be a good pinner?
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
And you see it all the time. No one passes a guard in competition, and the guy just lies on his back and just lets.
Dude, it's like this is why some of the wrestlers sometimes do so well so quick. They know how to pin.
Yeah.
So I have guard. Kevin, that's from Kevin actually. Is heaven or hell? If I'm on my side with my shoulders from 45 to 90 degrees, that's Danaher-ish, isn't it? I'm happy with that one. I'm smart. So my shoulders are turned this way. It's heaven. If I go past 90, I'm getting flattened. It's hell. Mm-hmm. Have guard flat on your back is called a no guard.
Yeah.
Okay? And what people have to understand, it's like good jiu-jitsu happens in transition. What does that mean? Means if two guys highly competent, it will happen when the middle game. What happened when they change position? Now, I'll tell you what, this is what I learned, maybe because my jiu-jitsu is deficient. But if I get side control on a guy, and every time I try to do something against somebody who's good, that's when they'll regard. Because the pressure will relent. So I train how to move heavy on top, grind the position, and still, against a guy who's highly competent, there'll be room for him. So I was telling somebody, I said, listen, if I'm in a half guard and I'm down by 10 points, I'm not fucking passing. I'm submitting. Because half guard is a great submitting position once the guy's flat on his back.
Yep.
So if anything, if I'm in side control, I'm going to go put my foot back in the half guard, create that 90-degree angle, sprawl my hips on your hips, keep you flat, and I'm going to start attacking like a savage because I need a submission at this point.
And you're going back to concept.
Yeah, so it's funny because I was talking about this and Guillaume sent me a Greg Jones instructional that talks about pins and crab rides and stuff. I completely agree with this statement. And you know what? I kind of stopped that. Don't forget, I was a grappler before I was a jiu-jitsu guy. He says the most dominant position, it's not a mount or the back with the hook set. Is the guy flat on his belly, dick on the floor, and you're on his back on a full crab ride. Dude, when you get this, you're going to get your head torn off. In the past, we did rear face locks and stuff like that. Thank goodness we don't do that anymore. Yeah. But those are, so if you don't grasp the basic grappling concept, you're going to be what? You're going to be one of those guys, let's smoke a doobie and flow, bro.
Yeah.
And then you're going to guy who's him instead going to say, let's pop a few energy drill and blast. It's like it's two different things.
Yeah.
So you see that, and I find that women's jiu-jitsu, the women who rule the roost there, the guys who take care, Brianna, Amy Campo, and these girls, they're not cute out there. Mm-hmm. They're not cute. Like the reason why I did what I did in my insignificant sport career was that my philosophy was winning uglies better than losing pretty. Like, okay, maybe it's my limitations here, okay? But any moves that require 25 grips, tread the level like this, dude, it's like me, I attack this setup, okay? So, it's fine when your partner's letting you tread the gi between you, like bring him back around. It's like, that's cool. But honestly, you better make sure I don't have access to your head while you're doing that. Because you know what? It's like in the 90s, we didn't have teachers. We didn't have the Fabios, the Fred, the Cascao, all these guys. So everything was about raw damage, which is, thank goodness we're out of there because a lot of my friends are not rolling anymore.
No one would do jiu-jitsu anymore.
So, but you know what? I was told by a guy, which I had limited contact with. He was a WCW wrestler, but when he did not wrestle that bullshit thing, I bumped into him. He used to come to our club, but back then I was not as active and stuff. And I bumped into him once, and you know what he says? Anytime you don't know what to do, grab anything and bend it the way it's not meant to go. And rolling with this guy was a nightmare. He goes, this is where I'm so big on chin picks and that type of stuff. He goes, you know what? He goes, it's okay. Turn his head that way while you figure it out. So it's just basic wrestling, grappling's that people have been grappling for 10,000 years. And you know what? I find people so arrogant. They say, well, look what I invented. You didn't invent it. You rediscovered it. You know, I've been, oh, you come up with that? Well, there's probably somebody, if I do it, somebody else.
It's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, somebody. So yeah. But it's like, so going back to that technical thing, understand grappling. And then your jiu-jitsu will fall into place. Like, I mean, if you have displeasure to roll with Fabio, I guess he makes people feel that, you know, it's like, there's nothing spectacular, but you know what? It's like, get flattened and have guard. And then you know what? You're done.
Concept.
Yeah, it's a concept. So, but now you're at a stage, you start with the concept. When they're white belts, it's a waste of time. When you're a white belt, you're a parrot. You mimic their technique. So you might know it, you know how to do it. But I always tell Fred, I understood the white belt sequence when I got my black belt. My black belt exam, if I was at school and I said, I want to examine the black belt and stuff, I would just...
How well does he understand the white belt?
I would make him go do the white belt curriculum. And you're allowed 3 small mistakes. And I'm always amazed when I hear a brown belt or a purple belt said, well, I don't stand up in close guard because I wind up falling every time. When I hear this, I said, dude, you're lucky I don't run this show. You're lucky I don't run this show. Yeah. We drilled in the morning. All we did, we got up and we stayed up. Then we'd live drill that forever. So you know what? It's like you step, it's basic grappling concepts. And then, you know what? The jiu-jitsu just falls into place. I guess that's why I was lucky a bit. Because I'd wrestle, I'd grapple, and I got a green belt in judo, but that's so long ago it doesn't count anymore. Right. It's completely void judo-wise in my head. But when I started with Lee, I knew where to put my hips. That's a big deal. So it made me look better than I actually was. And this is why when you're going back to the blue belt beating, when the guy has wrestled at a high level, he knows, the head position and stuff and things and how to keep a guy. If he pins you, you're in trouble. I don't care who you are. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you from, being Brianna Ste-Marie's father, at what moment in time did you see, again, this is from your perspective, at what moment did you see that change between normal Brianna, I'm going to class, I'm enjoying jiu-jitsu, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, to that moment where it was...
Sorry, I'm laughing, because there was
never that moment.
There was never a change. You don't understand. Like, my 2 girls are nut jobs. Like
in a good way, by the way.
Yeah. My eldest would lose a soccer game and tear down her room after. It's irrelevant. I never pushed them.
Right.
I didn't care. Like the family policy with sport was don't back down. So maybe you play on the big team. Maybe you don't play on the big team. Maybe you get cut. Maybe you win, you lose. As long as you don't back down, I'm happy. So I guess Brianna would be a better one to explain. So listen, if I blow it, Brianna, don't.
That's why I said from your perspective.
Yeah, don't strangle me. But because anyway, so a long time ago, she wanted to grapple. So I want to grapple, just out of the blue. That's a long. She was there. She was playing soccer back then.
Did she play rugby also before?
Yeah, she played soccer, AAA soccer, and rugby team Quebec. I never pushed that. She just wants to be on top of the pile, right? So she says, I want to grapple. Oh, okay, but so you can come at Riverdale Wrestling Club. I was coaching there. I was helping Jay Bradbury. And I got some, but she goes, I don't know and stuff. So if conversation was, so no, okay. So I don't care. Like I don't want to push, but she's doing well with soccer, well with rugby and stuff. And so she starts to do jiu-jitsu, thanks to Luca, her ex-boyfriend there. So she followed him and she started to do jiu-jitsu. And right away, first class, she comes on, when's the first tournament? Like, let's say you, whatever. So this, you can't coach that, And I see a lot of good athletes. There's something that people at her level fuel on that others don't. And it has nothing to do with skill. Brianna was always a good athlete, but it goes beyond athleticism. It's there's a thing that, okay, so I go like this, and now she gets her blue belt. Oh, well, now I can go to Worlds or the Pans. That's how it is.
Just
like
natural.
Yeah. So so good. So all right. We fly for free. So it's like, so she does all this, and so there never was a change. You can tell. I can tell in the kids class. Some kids have that. Whoa! I'm not falling down now. And this is identifiable. And I've learned, because I coach lacrosse, coach wrestling, coach jiu-jitsu. And I realized that when I used to coach elite like Team Quebec lacrosse, I realized that skill was important. But you know what? I'll take grit over skills anytime. And I learned once, it's funny, last year I coached lacrosse, I was done with coaching elite. Because coaching elite, what people don't understand is that you only coach the practice in the game when you coach house league. Coaching elite, you work when you're not with the team. Do this
right.
and that. So you've been there. So
yeah.
Anyway, so it was kind of wild because I was coaching house league and they have the training camp and they got this evaluation thing like, okay, skill, passing, catching and stuff. Dude, I'm going like this. And I got my chart there. So at the end of the name, I had B and B, balls, no balls. And we had a draft. They turned this like it's a big deal. So I had a draft. So we have the draft. And I went with my scientific evaluation. They were laughing. They're freaking laughing. I won second place at the provincial championship house league. And we lost by a fluky double overtime goal. It was a bad bounce and stuff. So I thought, guys, shit happens. It's not because you played bad or made mistakes. So I had guys that could barely catch a ball when the season started. But I got all the fireballs. And you know what? I said, this is what it's at. And there's a certain thing. Don't forget, kids these days, it's getting harder and harder to find those because they're brought up soft.
Yeah.
And without being stupid, I'm not saying you have to whip them and do all that stuff. But they're brought up like, oh, you want to quit? It's okay. They sign up. You don't like it? Go. I told my kids, you want to sign up for something? You're finishing the season. I don't care. Like my coach, an idiot. It just doesn't matter. You signed up, you finish, right?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult when everything in school, we played this basketball tournament. I'm going to go see it. So what's the score? Well, we don't keep score. So, but I mean, and then you expect them to be functional adult, and this world's getting more and more competitive,
Yeah.
So in jiu-jitsu is the same. I told the kids, I said, all I want you is not to quit, but it's a win.
Yeah.
You battle this like it's the end of the world. And then, you know what? It's going to suck. There'll be some moments that's not good. But that's what it is. So I guess,
So she already had that in her.
Oh, my God,
right?
yeah. It's like, my son was different. He had it in a different way. My son is more like less flamboyant, like he's quiet, but he had the grit. We saw that when he wrestled at the Eastern Canadian, the Quebec Championships and stuff like that. And and he dove after at a high level. For a guy who started diving at 14, he made his point for a national. He was in the same bracket as Depatie or one of these guys. Mm-hmm. Mind you, the only way he could have won is if everybody else in front of him would have had food poisoning. But still, to do an inward 2.5 when you started at 14 is something else. These guys started at 3, you know? So I guess they had the grit. I guess maybe they got the athleticism from mom. And I got, you know what, it's like, I was an angry kid, so for me, the sports was more than, it was like a...
It was a needed outlet.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like, I started to do martial arts because I realized, you know what? I can kick people's ass without getting in trouble. Obviously, the opposite happened. Started doing martial art, I got my ass handed. But, so yeah, that's what it is. But it's like, So it's, but they always, we knew from day one, like we never had to, like in the game, you could see like it was just there. Oh yeah. Like my 2 girls were we don't like losing, riding back in the car, like like this and
Angry,
stuff,
yeah.
and you don't talk to me about it and stuff. And
What do you think has made the big difference in Brianna in her success? Like, do you think, or what do you feel she's done different than everybody else?
you know what? She didn't get caught in the trends. Like, I guess thanks to Fabio, but you know what? Brianna, she just went and say, Fabio said, go for ahead. When Fabio goes, go ahead. And you know what? It's like, she'll go, if Barney puts that shield, she'll go over the inside legs, pinch it, and then just go boom over the head, chin pick, bring it in. It's always the same. But you know what? The ladies, I'm not talking about the Fionn Davies and Amy Campo and Montero and Bea Mesquita and Bianca Basilio. Just not talking about these guys. The other girls, they got caught up in the freaking, oh my God, that looks cool. Well, you know what? She's going to be on your head and she'll tear it off. Watch, every time she goes like this, you see her paw with her, it was a highlight and stuff. So this is basic grappling. She didn't look, you know what's funny? Everybody poo-pooed the closed guard. That always cracks me up. People, I'm all about submission. And you don't play closed guard? Bro, you're stupid. You didn't see like Roger Gracie is not enough for you? Like, and you know what's funny? I'm amazed. Even now, I watch Black Belt Adult, and these guys would smoke me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you that. I look at how they pass the closed guard. I say, are you fucking kidding me? They don't know. Or if they close the guard, they're not stingy. They open it right away to go try to go. Dude, there's nothing to this day that annoys me more than a functional closed guard guy. So I guess I don't know if it was Fabio. I think it's Fabio says, no, nobody plays closed. Nobody closes. So she closed the guard, and suddenly he goes Elizabeth Clay armbar. That was a big deal.
No one knows how to react.
So you look at how they're trying to pass, and I say, are you kidding me? When you see a black belt try that U2 pass of putting your leg, your middle and pushing the hips down, are you fucking kidding me? I like what Keenan said about that once. He said, let me show you the pass that I was taught first that never worked. It's like, come on, you need to stand up. I mean, Roger Gracie says, if you want to have a chance to get out of my guard, one little chance, you have to stand up. So, so Brianna she didn't get caught up with the trends, with the fads and the this and the that. And you know what? It's like leg lockers get leg locked. You want to go start playing that game, you got to be sure to have a good defensive. That's not, I don't have any competence in that. So I shouldn't be commenting because it's not my gig. But I rarely got leg lock. Why? Because I'm on the guy's head twisting it.
Yeah. And I guess that's what all the commentators say all the time whenever you watch Brianna's matches. It's always, she better watch out for her head. Because you know that Brianna's coming.
So they're afraid, they're hesitant to go and entangle because they're going to grab it.
Yeah, they don't want to come in and dive under and try to go for a leg because you're giving her what she wants, right?
That's right. And you know what? What she did against, I think it was one of the match at who's number one. What she did, I think it was Maisa Bastos. And what she did, when she came in for the legs and she missed the head, she threw herself back on her ass. So she cleared the knee line before she entangled. Yeah. But the problem is, which is what, like I said, I don't claim any expertise in that field, so you got to take this with a grain of salt. But people, when they entangle, they say, okay, how am I going to counter entangle? I don't want to go there, tell you the truth. I like my knees too much. I'm not going to go fuck around there. So what she did, she kind of fell back a bit. Yeah. And her knee was, so the entanglement was shit right off the bat, and she came back on top. Okay, Maisa's very good. He's very hard to pass. Nobody passed that girl's guard in like a decade or something. And Brianna I kept saying like, go double under, and then finally she did it, But yeah, so it's like, you know what? It's like I don't think she got caught up with the trends and the this. And like I said, you got to learn that stuff if you want to kill it. Yeah. Like so she'll learn this stuff. She'll learn the things. Why? Because she wants to short circuit it. And trust me, when somebody's a headhunter, it's annoying. It's annoying to have somebody on your head the whole time. So I suspect, and that, like, you should ask her the question, But she never got caught up in in all the trends and stuff. So this is how she's never. I mean, I'm not telling you she'll never get leg locked. That would be stupid. Right. But this is why it's very difficult, and the girls are afraid to get their head caught on the way. Yeah. And this is why I don't think many people have leg locked Fabio recently. Right. Yeah. It's like So it's what it is, man. I don't think she got caught up in that. And the minute you forget your basics, basic grappling, it's done. It's done. Yeah. Somebody was joking when I said, when you pass the guard, you they call that the how do you put that? It's in French. Tu dévisses la tête, ses jambes ouvrent. From close guard.
If you unscrew the head, the legs open.
Yeah, from half guard. I keep turning the head the wrong way until the legs open, you know? It's like half guard pass, you know? But anybody who got Cascal's shoulder in his face will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Do you think, I noticed that Brianna, I've been watching a lot of videos, she's been putting on the gi a little bit more. Do you think she's going to go and
she loves the gi.
She's going to do a little return in the gi? Or?
She does. She loves the gi. But like she said, she did the IBJJF podcast. I don't know if you guys heard it, but she was saying, she goes, I love the gi, but it was a question of opportunity. Like, you know, it's like, it's IBJJF is a weird animal. I mean, it's like, you know what? A lot of people, you know, shit on them and stuff. I have some issues with them, but you know what? Now the top tier guys, like the guys which are like black belt adult in each division, the top 5. Why should they fight there? To get peanuts? That's why they came up with the Grand Prix and stuff like that. Yeah. When they can go to who's number 1 and get an appearance fee of $5,000 or whatever, I don't know what the rate is. I'm making up numbers now, and get a winning bonus, submission bonus. They get that Bitcoin thing, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So don't bitch them from going there. They want to pay the bills.
Yeah. They're trying to do this as a career.
So for Brianna, it was, I think, a question of opportunity.
Yeah.
She loves doing gi. Like, absolutely. Like, she's going to Brazil, to the Brasileiros.
Nice. So,
and then get ready for the world's gi. She'd like to win the world's gi, which is fine but it was not a question of her having a preference.
No, it was just a question of opportunity.
It's an opportunity. Yeah. You know, you get your hotel, airfare, an appearance fee or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know.
And no-gi, from looking on the outside, no-gi is just so much more. It's so much more fast-paced. It's so much more exciting. Again, I enjoy the gi. I've learned to love the points.
Is it more exciting though when you see a guy keep disengaging, coming back, disengaging, coming back?
Okay, yeah. So there are some elements like that, but even at that, people are moving.
Right.
What I dislike, I'm not saying hate, but what I dislike or find it hard, even though I love the gi, is watching high level matches. And people are tied on to one advantage.
I hate playing the advantage.
And they're playing the advantage. And and again, you taught me this, that you should always keep an eye on the clock. You always need to be aware of where you are and what's going on with the clock. And I took that advice all the way through. Every time I competed, it was always in the back of my mind. But these guys who are stuck on playing advantages, that's almost all they're doing. They're stalling in a position and they're just continuously looking at the clock. That 100%. Part is,
you know what bothers me? It's like, maybe it's because I wrestled before I did jiu-jitsu. But what I cannot stand, and I'm not going to bitch the athletes, because their job as elite athlete is to stand on the line for the rules.
It's part of the game. It's part of the rule set.
So when I saw Keenan against Cabrina, I think, and he's just, the commentator says he doesn't want to score points. He wants to score a pile of advantage. Because problem is with a warm guard is that you sweep, but you get counter swept easy.
Right.
So what they do is like he sweeps, but he goes back, gets the advantage, goes back, and he keeps piling the advantage.
Yeah.
Right. So with Cabrina, he wound up in a seesaw match. He swept him, then Cabrina swept him. So it's like when you're a kid and you're playing the baseball bat game and you put your hands until the last guy's on top.
You want to be the last one.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't like that, because I'm a fighter at heart. Or Leandro Lo was a master. If you want to learn how to play the clock, and like I said, it's not a put down. It's on the contrary. I admire that. What he did when he was down by a point, they would reset him in the middle. He'd go stand right in the corner, right at the edge. So the guy shoots out of bounds, reset in the middle. He spent 2 minutes running around the lines on the side like that until ref kept resetting. Mm-hmm. That guy's not going to pull guard when there's, a short clock or whatever. It's like, and even if he pulls guard, he would just step back, step out of bounds, go back. So gaming a role is great. But honestly, if I'm a paying fan, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And in a gi, it's easier to paralyze a match, lock it down, and nothing happens. Yeah. So I was thinking, as you always have those conversations about rules. What should we do to make it more exciting?
Yeah.
Okay, so myself, to force the guys to be active. If it's Thai, okay, there's advantages. How about top riding time? So you'd see guys under freaking trying to sweep. That could be one. Or a push-out rule. People would stay in the middle. You get push-out, give the guy an advantage.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, the guy will engage in the middle.
You got to stay in the middle.
Yeah. Or stuff like that. Or like I think, was it where Brianna was, it's a point for everything. No more. Take the back 1 point. Yeah. So you're never out of the match.
Right.
You know, and you're never piling a lead that's insurmountable.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of things that could be done. But you know what, there's a lot of debates to be done about this. And sometimes I think about it and I can see the caveat of all these things.
Because they've made it a sport. It's still a sport with a rule set and a point system and whatnot to go ahead and...
I don't give a shit to sit down in front of a guy without grabbing him or anything. I know, but Christ, I watched this and I'm saying, tabarnak, and just kick him right in the fucking head. Like, you know, it's like, but it's like, you know, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah. It's happening. And I don't blame the athletes because simply it's like, it's the rule set allows them to do that. So I do it. I play the rule. You have to game. Yeah. You have to learn. If you want to compete at a high level, you know, learn how to game the rules and make them work for you.
Yeah.
You see that in every sport. Your job as a professional athlete is to walk the line like this.
Yeah.
Right? So
I'd love to see some sub-only gi stuff. And I know it makes for...
Yeah, but you know what sub-only causes? Not with... You know, is that you need a time... The match I don't even bother watching is no time limit.
Right.
Screw that. No, yeah. It's the most boring. Where is gi? No gi.
Right.
They do nothing besides sloppy collars. You'll get a takedown. The guy disengage.
Yeah.
It's whoever's got the best cardio is going to win at the end. You know?
Yeah. And I mentioned it before. I did a Grappling Industries sub only. It was in the gi also.
So on a time limit, how's that going to work? How are you going to pick a winner?
That's the thing. It was no time limit. And I think my first match was 26 minutes.
That's right.
And imagine how hard it is to actually run a tournament like that
you
too,
can't.
right?
Okay, so Ray, today, okay, here's your schedule. You're fighting Sunday morning at 9. Then your second match is Sunday morning at 10 p.m.
Right.
And then if you win, the next day you're there at lunchtime. It's like you want to keep, you know, you got to give this to BJJ. They can run a tournament with 900 participants and do it in the day and a half or something like this.
They're so efficient in what they do.
You got to give credit for that.
Yeah.
So submission only, that bores the living shit out of me. Like I wind up going and do the dishes, coming back and looking. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. So I would come up with a rule set that force engagement. Wrestling's the opposite. It's over the top the other way, especially NCAA. Mm-hmm. The NCAA versus freestyle wrestling, what they call folk style or collegiate wrestling in the U.S., is that's the best wrestling to watch. Because in freestyle, the guy goes down, he'll base out, stand back up. Mm. NCAA, you can be called for passivity for not trying to get up.
Yeah.
So you go down, if you get up, score point. So I get 2 take down, the guy gets up, he gets 1. And then if you keep him down, they calculate riding time, top riding time. So if it gets to be a tie, you can win on riding time because you spend more top control time.
I like that idea.
So there's push-out rules. Yeah. I don't know if I'm a bit blurry on their rule set, but I think there's push-out rules and stuff. So this is why these guys have such a good wrestling for MMA, because they train to get up from day one. Right? If you want to try this, there's wrestling tournament. I think Beekman Town used to have one. You go there, it's U.S. rules. You better get ready to sit out. All those sit out, escape you do, and stuff like that. That comes from American wrestling.
Yeah.
Because so this is why wrestling is such a tough freaking sport. It's the rule set. Yeah. It's like you cannot back down. You have to go. This is why wrestlers are a special breed of animals.
I guess in Jiu-Jitsu, that's why. I guess there's a benefit for having all these different organizations with different rule sets.
Right.
Because then you can kind of pick what you like to watch, right? Or like to do. And then you can kind of pick and choose where you're going to go.
But on the other side, you see any people having fun at 40 years old with wrestling?
Right.
Dude, you can't. You're done. You're done. Bustamante told me himself, like he came in Montreal. The first time I met him, I don't know, somebody, talked to him. I don't know, said something about me, and he came up to me randomly and he says, if you want to keep doing this for a long time, you're gonna have to stop wrestling. I don't know how he knew that I had a wrestling base. Never saw me roll. But say you heard somebody talk or somebody talked to him. Someone,
it was an intervention.
Yeah, it was an intervention. And you know what? The beautiful thing about our sport is that it's so broad, you can find a way to make it work. I had one leg, no hips, no knees, and I found a way to develop a half guard, bottom half or top passing game that worked for me. And you know what? I love my half guard game now. And I mean, I'm certainly going to, it's not like, for the level that I roll at, it's great. And you know what? It's like without my freaking orthopedic nightmare, I would have stumbled there. Mm-hmm. Now I do that stuff, that leg turking thing I do and all that nonsense. And you know what? It's like that's my injuries that gave me this. Mm. And then I realized, I said, you know what? I said, if I beat that bottom leg when I'm in top half, if I beat that bottom leg, I saw that, believe it or not, from watching Habib, how he guards the guard, how he mounts the knees, how he squeezes his knees around the guy's bottom leg and he murders him. So I said, if it works for Habib, it should work for me. So I started playing around with this and stuff like that. And then, you know what? For a while, I realized I forgot I'm a grappler first. So then I started to do stuff like with the leg to finish, the takedown and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't do it. You can do this in a very hurtful fashion, but I don't. I just go gradual. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's like, it's all, jiu-jitsu's like that. You got a sore back, you'll find a way to make it work. You got a sore shoulder, you do something, So you'll develop a game. It's so broad. You look at the whole spectrum of technique. Look at YouTube.
Yeah.
And you will find your sweet spot in there, your formula. And if you understand the game conceptually, going back to what we were discussing, you'll be able to start bending stuff to make it work for you without compromising yourself. Yeah. So would I teach a guy who just starts my half guarding system? Maybe not. It's like, that's how it is, man. It's like, so my injuries have given me the reason why I didn't feel like a useless sack of shit when I was at home getting depressed because of my hips and couldn't move and this and that. I guess I engaged my mind into figure out a game that works for me. Now that I think about it, I'm just thought about this now. I'm just like thinking out loud. And that effort, I said, I got to be able to roll. That gave me a bit of sense of purpose that kept me sane through this whole freaking ordeal and stuff,
Yeah. And not to rush the process, knowing that if you do, then you're not going to be able to roll, right?
Where's the rush? It's like I don't think I'm going to get a call by Mo Jessup to go to ADCC in a couple of years. I mean, honestly, and people are funny, and they talk about tournament. They say, but what if you fight Megaton, in 2019? Because Megaton compete, I think we're both Masters 6. I said, dude, I would love this. If I sign up for a Masters tournament and they say you're fighting Hodja Gracie, I'm going to drop on my knees and become a Christian. I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to say yes. Yes. I'd rather lose the first match against a legend than going out. I mean, I'm going to go, I'm going to go out on my shield. I'm going to, but I don't understand. What if, like some of our guys now going to ADCC tomorrow, some of them are in brackets. Why they got Lee in their bracket?
Yeah.
What if I fight him? Well, you're lucky if you fight him. You got to figure out what doesn't work in your game real quickly. You know?
Yeah, that's great. I don't even know how many people are going to ADCC tomorrow. Is it a large group now? I last time I checked, it was like 5 or 6 guys. If I'm not mistaken.
James, Vlad, Will, Gabrielle, his girlfriend. From BTT West Island, I think Chris James' brother, is he going? I think he's going. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Anyway, so
let's say 5, bigger.
Between 4 and 6.
Now, my question was for this. I don't know if you know, is this a qualify? Is it just a tournament?
I don't know. It's not a qualifier.
It's not a qualifier.
No, they came up with a string of tournaments. Now there's another one. I don't think it's a qualifier, but qualifiers will be in the year leading up to it. Like, I don't think it's going to be like 2 years ahead of time, first of all.
Right. Brianna's not competing in ADCC?
Well, she's getting ready for gi now.
Oh, right. She's getting ready for the gi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has to coach. She has some people from where she coaches at Mizzou and other BTT people in town, whatever.
Yeah.
So she's going to be...
Are you going to the ADCC tomorrow?
You know what? I'd love to, but I don't think I can spend the whole day on my feet.
It's true, yeah.
And sit on wonky chairs.
Right.
Just getting up from this chair is probably going to be a thing. But it's so it's a little rough. And I want to save myself because at the mastermind next week, I got tons of kids signed up.
Oh, right. That's next week.
And some of my 7 a.m. psychos are signed up. So I got to spend the entire day there. So it's like that's going to be So I'm gonna bring a lawn chair or something and try to see what because I have no clue how that's gonna go. So I said, well, if I'm gonna go tomorrow, stand all day, I'm gonna be and the 2-hour drive to get to Ottawa is gonna be also a bitch when I get out of the car. So
save it for whenever. I'm
gonna watch it on Flow. It's like
Is it? Are they streaming it?
It's on Flow. Yeah.
Okay,
so
nice.
I'm gonna watch it on Flow and stuff. And I got a message tonight and say, tell me your time. So
you program it.
I'd like to see it.
And what are your plans for jiu-jitsu now? Do you still want to sign up for Worlds?
Fuck what people understand, like when you pay to sign for a tournament, you don't pay to compete. The benefit you're gonna have from signing for a tournament will be once you're committed, you send the money. The time from when you send the money to the tournament will be your best training time lifetime. Yeah. When I signed up for the Jiu Jitsu Worlds in 2000, there was nobody signed up my bracket. Nobody. I signed up purposely way too long before. As soon as I signed up, bang, first guy. I was the first guy for like 4 months, I think. And
I think that's a Master of 6 issue.
Yeah. But no, we were 12 at the end. But the idea is that when you sign up, you're training, suddenly you're motivated. You signed up, you're committed. So it gives you more oomph in your training. When you suddenly start thinking, okay, I have a problem with this, I got to drill it now. It's what you do. So I tell people, I don't care when you sign up for a tournament, go and get wasted in the first roll. It's all good. But the fact that you signed up, suddenly you see the body language changes at practice.
Right.
Suddenly, like, okay, how come I'm always falling? How come I'm like this? So then there's a bit of and then even for the conditioning, the cardio, who wants to fucking do cardio for the sake of cardio? Oh my God. So you know what? You sign up suddenly, I'm at Centennial running the hills. Well, I was jumping on one leg up there. I was walking backward, doing some way to work the hills. So I did a lot of things. Walking backward was okay for my hips. So I'm hitting the hill sprints backward. But anyway, anything. But the idea is that
you're problem solving now.
So now, but you don't understand. It'll change the flavor of your training leading up to this. Yeah. So why am I going to the world? Of course I want to win. Who doesn't? But it's not the point. The reason why I'm so pumped up for my hip rehab is the fact that I want to go to the world. Mm-hmm. And I suspect that if I didn't do it, I might not be as motivated to do it. I'm a human being. Mm-hmm. So I tell people, just sign up. Look, the best thing, this is one of the best things I've heard in a while. Hi, Ati. She goes like this. She's older than me. 3 months of jiu-jitsu, she signs up. Fuck it, I'm going to tournament. All right. Yeah. She does the tournament. She has 2 fights. She did very well. She fought like a fucking dog. And you know what? But nobody in her age group, so they wind up
with the
plugging her way. Yeah. So but she still did, and nobody had an easy ride with her. And we're in the restaurant after, we're all sitting there. And we're all like eating and stuff and having a good time. And Ati looks at me, she goes, you know what? I'm not the same person. This is why you do that. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You go there because when you step to the scratch line, when you step up, something happens to you. And if it's not, doesn't scare the shit out of you, it's not worth it. So you step up to that line. I've had that feeling. When I went to the Worlds, I hadn't had that feeling in decades. When I went the Abu Dhabi in Montreal, nobody showed up. I was pissed. I trained like a savage. I was a blue belt. Listen, 2,000 guard passes a week. Like, I trained like a savage. I make 160 pounds, man, And I showed up. There's nobody for me to fight. I was so mad. I threw in those crowd control gate. Like, fuck! I trained like a savage. But you know what? Not looking back on it, if I wouldn't have signed up, I never would have. flip my jiu-jitsu to the next shelf, like the higher shelf. But
should people in masters weight cut for local competitions?
Hell no. You know what? It's like, first of all, if you're a master, why go do the worlds? Why? Because especially if you're older, Masters 1, you don't have a problem. Every tournament will have a big bracket. Masters 7, dude. If I go to SAU, they're going to put me in Black Belt Masters 1. I mean, hopefully I'll get somebody to break a sweat in there. I might win one, but I cannot go for 10-minute matches like 4 of them or something like that.
What about people in their late 30s, early 40s?
Whatever.
Is it something that you...
So it's, you go to Worlds, you'll get a functional bracket at any age, usually.
Right.
Generally speaking, especially in gi, if you're a master.
Right.
So I thought, go to the Worlds. You'll get people. You'll get people there, and when it comes to the weight, I said, okay, what am I going to fight me at Masters? Oh, fucking hell. I know at Montreal, when I was a blue belt, I made 160 because it's weighed the day before. So I did a weight cut and no problem. The day of the fight, I was 176. So I went there, I said, I don't want to worry.
Yeah. I
want to be able to hit the buffet, the wins. Mm-hmm. And here's something that I learned when I was wrestling. I was middle of the pack wrestling. I was not nothing that you would talk about locally, not like nationally or something like that. And I used to wrestle at a certain weight, and I never had fun competing because I felt like shit. Skip roping in a sauna with a plastic bag, like 10 minutes before your fucking match or something like this.
Sounds like fun.
So every time I wrestled, I had a light hangover. Like I felt like, So I had an epiphany at some point. I said, what am I kidding? I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm not going to Canadian Olympic trials. I'm not like Harry or anything like that.
Right.
I suck compared to these guys. So I went up 3 weight classes. And I was same ranking. I didn't drop. And then I had fun. My last couple tournaments, I had fun.
Yeah.
I felt good.
Puts a lot of pressure, eh?
I didn't win more or lost more. So I said, you're a master. Find a weight that you feel strong and that you're fit. And that's a lifestyle advice. I tell people, find your equilibrium weight. Mm-hmm. What is that? It's the weight that's easy for you to maintain, that you feel strong, you feel fit, you feel good, and you don't have to bend over backward to maintain.
Yeah.
And like that, you can stay there. So for me, I walked back then at about 185. I got to make 181 with the gi. Okay. So...
Yeah, because recently I've gotten a lot of questions about that, being like, hey, did you used to weight cut when you were a blue belt, or should I weight cut? I'm purple and this and I get a lot of people asking that question.
Listen, it's not a weight cut, first of all, because you wait like half an hour before. I mean, I BJJF, it's about like about an hour sometime before. Yeah. But you go to SAU, you get in the morning, they weigh you.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like shit. If you're not 100% physically, you're not well fueled and hydrated, I mean, you know what?
You're not going to enjoy yourself.
You're not going to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? And you know what? You're not going to do that well.
Yeah.
So you're going there, so I tell people, especially going to Masters World, they're going to weigh you what? Sometimes I got weighed what? Maybe an hour before my match. I'm trying to remember. So imagine. So me, what I did the night before, I weighed myself at the hotel. They had a gym and a scale downstairs. So the night before, I went and I weighed myself. When I was in the building, I weighed myself on the same scale they were going to weigh me, same brand and stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was at 179. So I'm under. I weighed myself with my gi. So I was 2 pounds under with my gi. But when you're older, you haven't done that in a while. You don't know your body. So at night, at supper, I had very little, but it's something nutritious, but not a volume thing. And I went to so I felt I was not that hungry anyway. So I drank some water. I'm not gonna fucking dry. And in the morning, first thing I got in the building, before my official weigh-in, I went where I was going to be weighed in. I stood on the scale. I was at 174 with the gi. So I got in 2 acai bowls, like whatever. I drank about water and stuff, and I make sure I pissed before. And So why are you obsessing about this?
Why create that extra stress, right?
Don't go there. It's like you're not, it's not like, why do that? Especially when it's the same day weigh-in, or depends on the tournament. You get weighed a couple hours before. Like, why are you going there with a headache and stuff like that? Yeah. You're not going to perform. I
think that'll be reassuring for a lot of people, because I get that question all the time, especially from our students in our school, that it might be their first competition, or they see people online that everyone's talking about weight cutting, and that, you'll do better if you drop 7 pounds and go in a lower division and be, anyways.
Boo.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't care, because look, not everybody cuts weight the same way. For me, I'm not a big sweater.
Yeah.
So for me to drop 5 pounds of fluid, I remember was that Lee was getting ready for an MMA fight, and weigh-ins at whatever, I don't remember what it was, lunchtime or something like that, or 10 a.m. I gotta find a sauna I'm 10 over, or something like this. Just gonna sit an hour in a sauna and drop 10 pounds of water. There's no way I'm doing that,
There's no way you're gonna feel good after that.
That's right. So for me, it was like skip roping in a sauna with a plastic bag and stuff, and I felt like shit.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was a hangover when I wrestled. So, and it was Mickey Mouse wrestling I did. I like that. It's like not even like something serious. So I thought, why do you even think about this? Get yourself fit. You can lose some weight, but you meet somewhere you'll feel good.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to maintain it. I call that the equilibrium weight.
Mm-hmm.
I can drop down, like when I dropped down to 160 for that tournament, I was a blue belt. Could I stay there? Hell no. I'm going to destroy myself. So right away, by lunchtime, I was at 170, but the next day I was at 176, but right now I'm thinking, as I lost weight because of my hip, I was about 185, 190, and I figured less weight on the supporting joint, because I walk funny for so long, my left knee's sore now.
Okay.
It's acting up. It's because I walk like the Hunchback of Notre Dame for it.
Yeah.
So I said I'm going to drop weight. So I dropped to 175, and now I'm at 172. I feel good. I don't care. I'm not training for the mirror.
Right.
So I'm thinking about the worlds. What am I going to do? So I might go one under, and I would need to make about 168. I can do that, no problem.
Yeah, and that's if you want to stay the way you are and still be happy, right?
Right. So I can go like this, and I'm disciplined with the food, but it's no gi too. You don't have the weight of the gi; it's different. Actually, the weight categories are different for gi. I have on my on my phone. It's not the same. My 168 is with the gi. I don't know how much it is no gi. I saved that on my phone there, but if I recall, I looked at it and I said I can make that, no problem. But it's like, I said, don't obsess that. You're a master. You gotta have fun. It's a beer league.
Yeah.
What's his name? Like I heard somewhere, there's a group, like Megaton's group. They have a group on WhatsApp. They always chat and stuff like that. It's not the same. It's not the same. There's no money on thing. You guys go for a beer after, or maybe before. Who knows? So we have a tendency. Don't compare your training regimen. But so-and-so does 1,700 arm bars, what?
Yeah, but are they going to work on Monday?
That's right. That's right. So never compare your regimen with somebody who makes a living out of this. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work. You're going to shred yourself to pieces. You can't, we saw that in bodybuilding, right? They buy Flex, Muscle and Fiction fitness magazine, and what they do, they look at a athlete, and name your famous bodybuilders of the 90s or whatever, and his chest routine. So this is your supplement right there. This guy takes GH, 3 roids, testosterone, and fuck knows what. So his workout and the frequency and how he splits his days, what are you going to do with that besides go to the hospital?
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you cannot go and say, I'm going to train name your favorite Jiu Jitsu athlete. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. I miss all that drilling we used to do, like the guard passes and stuff, but it's not happening.
Yeah. And
I miss it because this is where the key is live drilling.
Yeah.
And I miss doing it, but hey, listen, can't do it. Maybe I'll be able to do some of it when I get
just gotta wait for the rehab.
That's right. So I'll see what I can do, what I cannot do, but that's not going to stop me one way or the other. But if you start, you're going to go and do 9 rolls, find the formula. You have to know in the week, how many rolls can I handle? So split them, hard rolls, average rolls, and flow rolls. So in my case, at the end, it was down to 1 hard roll every 2 weeks, and the rest big trend, just work stuff, and I'm just happy to be there.
But at least you're at jiu-jitsu.
That's right. That's all there is to it, man. You're happy to it. You're happy to be grateful you're doing this, and don't get upset, man. It's like just go, play, have fun, leave. Sign up for tournaments because it's fun, especially in Masters. And I tell people, the older you go, the more you should go to Worlds because you'll get a functional bracket of like-minded, physical people.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to say, oh, you're going to go. Guy's tough, man. You know, guy, gray hair guy. He goes to a tournament. SAO has nobody in his weight class. They put him in adult. So he's with other 230-pound, 20 years old, blue belt, but he did well. He did super well. Yeah. So, but if you go to the Worlds, it's not going to happen. You're going to have a big bracket. Go to the Pans, the Worlds and stuff. This is why I want to go to the Worlds. It has nothing to do with winning a world championship. I'll be with other guys which have metal parts in them, it's like, that's where it's at, Other guys with the hips and knees and stuff.
Yeah,
and guys,
everyone's in the same boat.
Everybody walking funny and stuff. It's like I can relate to that, So that's what it's at. So I don't know, man. It's like jiu-jitsu is so special. It's sanity for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's sanity for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I like about it? It's an individual team sport. Like you're with a team. Together in the locker room on the mat, you behave as a team, but you do it individually. I think it's the best of both worlds in one.
Yeah.
Like I always felt I was in a team.
Yeah.
And, this is huge because as humans, we like to, that's why kids join gangs,
Yeah.
And so you go like this, there's a locker room banter, the mat banter. You sit around after, just, my age is the best part,
Yeah.
So, and this is where the sanity thing comes in. And, it's like everybody's like, I like the way we do it too. Like the advanced belts are there. Like we don't segregate.
Yep.
So I think that's...
And everyone's helping everybody no matter what level you're at.
Yeah, there's a bit of a... I mean, in our clubs anyway, I haven't trained jiu-jitsu anywhere else than BTT, but there's a bit of a mentorship thing happening, which is great. Like people help you get ready for a tournament. All right, so let's do this. I remember at TKO, some guy were cutting weights. His teammates were in the sauna with him, support. So it's a team sport. It's a team concept performed individually. I don't know if it makes sense, but
can't get that anywhere else.
You don't get it anywhere else, and that is such a place. Like a lot of people have told me that shit has kept me together. It kept me together. It's like it saved me, So it's like it's like I'd rather take this than take pills, I know when my hip was screwed, the only thing I was looking forward in my life was going to the mats. Because you become a head case, you're at home, you're borderline rude, you don't listen, people talk to you, you're not even paying attention, you're just, oh fuck, I'm sorry, Yeah. So it's like going to the mats and stuff kind of sidetracked me, got me out of that rut. I'm afraid to say how would I have behaved if I would not have had that going through what I went through.
Imagine everyone going
especially
through this.
Especially me, I know my personality, I'm a guy with anger, So it's
you wonder about the average person who doesn't have jiu-jitsu or doesn't have that thing that goes through the exact same experience.
It's got to be instead booze or opioids or something like this. So it's rough. Like, there's more to it. Jiu-jitsu is more than jiu-jitsu. I like what Enzo said once. He said, you know what? He goes, it's not about jiu-jitsu. He's like, people come and he goes, so you're on the mat, you're rolling next to the black belts, it's like, I used to love rolling with Leo because he could keep me right on my limit and make me work.
Yeah.
Right on I cannot train people, coach people like that because I'm not good enough. Yeah. So if I try to keep you on your limit, I'm going to get murdered,
Yeah.
But which I don't mind anyway. But so with him, those roles I really like.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I like, honestly, I like my roles with, be great about black belt. You pick your roles, right? So,
yeah.
so when I was a blue belt, I was kind of stupid. I always went hardest.
Yeah.
Fred said, "Why you always pick?" Corrado was next to me. Corrado.
Yeah.
Corrado. That's not Corrado. Then moving down the line, and Fred said, "Why do you do this?" Why? Then I said, "Okay, you pick for me," because I could not bring myself to pick easy.
Yeah.
And which was a mistake.
Yeah.
Now, no problem. I'll take the
I'll
take the 16-year-old who just tried his first. That's no problem. But it's like I had this thing for me. Jiu-jitsu was about taking on all comers. So
yeah,
it's like
you got to be smart about it.
So when somebody asks me, when somebody shows up at the school, challenges everybody, I'm stepping up. because that's what jiu-jitsu is all about, you know. I don't care. You just step up. Jiu-jitsu is about stepping up. I remember being, you know, when you get picked by somebody, because I was lucky. I was a blue belt. I was on top front of the line, you know, because there was nobody. You know, it's like, so, but when you're in the middle, I could just see the feeling when somebody comes. You got a big freaking guy who says, pick you. I mean, I got a lot of respect. That blue belt steps up, waits for a guy where they're going to go, right? And this in life is empowering. You get murdered or not, it's irrelevant. Somebody called you out, you went. Because it's a call out in a sense. You know, it's a call out. It's a polite call out. It's a friendly call out, but it's a call out.
Yeah.
And this is what makes you grow, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, I was always like on top of the line. Sometimes we would get a visiting purple belt or something like this. But I can imagine, I feel like, there comes the scary, okay, here comes Harry, oh Jesus, you know. I'm happy he's on the other side of the line.
Oh my God, yeah. So, some of these lower belts, I'm so happy that I get to pick before them, and I could not avoid them, but I was talking to Harry about this, that they're, you know, everyone has different type of days.
Right.
Sometimes, some days they feel great. Some days they don't feel great.
Right.
You can't always be insulted that people aren't picking you. And I was explaining that to him. If people aren't picking you, they might be having an off day, or maybe you're just doing something really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, you know what? It's like you have to understand that it's your benefit. Because as a blue belt, my favorite submission, no shit, was half guard pass. As a joke once, I said, my passing doesn't work. They always tap before I'm out. So I could put the type of pressure that people used to say, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
You know? But then again, I realize if I keep doing that, I'm not going to, you know, so what? It's great. So I know I have it, but now I ease up on it a bit and it opens up the roll. So you get better.
I remember tapping multiple times to you when I was a blue belt, and you would pass my top half and you'd be in side control, and I would tap just by the pressure alone.
Right, but you know what? It's like I stopped doing that because I'd rather see, like there's a guy, for example, Pat Advicula. Hi, Pat. And I love Pat because we always had rolls that open. It looked like if you only kept score, it would have been 72-71, you know, something like that. So
he's naturally like that because he's like that with everybody, which is fun.
But the roll was fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
You know, and that's a guy who's better than he thinks he is, because of his kids and stuff. He came like occasionally, but I remember once. So he goes, "Oh man," I said, "Dude, don't worry about it. You come here like once a month.
Yeah, you're
doing awesome." And then he started for a while. He started to come because work's only coming often, and then suddenly I said, "Oh my God, it's not the same guy now." You know,
different guy. Yeah.
So it's just a question, you know. So Pat has great roles, like, you know, you're moving and stuff, and it's I enjoy that, you know, like. But I mean, it's like, you know, there's a lot of things now. If somebody decides to put come in crashing a big guy, big pressure, a lot of time what I used to frustrate me is that I knew what to do, but I couldn't do it. So first I said, why don't you get up? Because today I'm not getting up. But in my mind, I was thinking, get up.
You knew what to do.
So I knew what to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, it doesn't work. So this is why I kind of developed that bottom half system that allows me to be able to go to wrestling without wrestling up.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for me. But honestly, would I beat a good young black belt with that? No, I need to get up with it.
Yeah.
I need to stand up with it.
Right.
But that's how it's gonna be. So it's gonna be like that. Yeah. It's fine. I'm okay. It's good.
And it's torture, by the way.
Okay, whatever. But you know, it's like it's yeah. So it's like I said, in life is about acceptance. You have to accept things. You don't fight them. You know, it's like what is pain threshold? You know, you don't fight pain. You accept it. Okay, it's there. You know, and whatever. But you have to accept what's happening to you. At some point, you know, the wheels start to fly out the car on the highway. And it's funny because jiu-jitsu did not do that to me. It was football. Played a lot of football, hockey, and stuff, and I always thought I was bigger than I actually was. But this is what, so you know what? I'm lucky I'm able to do this. So don't bitch. Be happy you're on the mat.
Yeah.
How many guys 60 do what I do on the mat? I told Fred, and I'm not saying this on an arrogant way at all, but I said, in my age group, in my weight class, I fear nobody on this planet. I'm not telling you I'm winning. I'm just telling you that I'm going to be a frickin' handful. Like, I don't have a problem. Yeah. So when we compare things, we got to compare them apples to apple.
Yeah.
If I compare myself to a guy who's 30 years young, it's not a fair comparison.
Right.
So be thankful you're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to my wife about that. We went to this indoor trampoline place, and there was a bunch of fathers there, right? We like we brought the kids. Everyone was around my age, 43, 44. Right. And I'm looking at all these fathers that are there.
Right.
And I think there was 2 of us out of maybe 100 that looked physically fit. And
we're not talking decathlon fit. We're talking about just baseline fit for a guy.
Baseline fit. Yeah, all these guys my age, all with guts. You could tell that like physically it just wasn't happening. And I kept being thankful that, man, I'm so thankful that I'm going to jiu-jitsu, that I have jiu-jitsu, that I'm able to stay physically fit. I don't want to end up like that.
I got x-rayed and the guy said, you should be in a walker right now. But it's like, you know what? They look at, is there physio rehab time or stuff like that? They use like gross population average. And the average guy my age now, which would have my hips, would have been on a walker because he's out of shape. Yeah. So me, I said, okay, I have no choice. If I stop exercising my glutes, my legs, I'm going to be like on a walker.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a walker.
That's not going to happen. So that's what it is. But life is like a poker game. You play poker, you can win with a pair of 2, or you can lose with a full house. So your odds of winning and bluffing with a pair of 2 are lesser than winning with a full house. So you might have the full house and still drop dead.
Yeah,
it's fine. You might say, it's like everybody's gonna die one. We're all gonna feed the worms. But what happens is like you have a pair of 2, you're gambling.
Yeah.
So if you have a pair of 2s right now, having a grand old time, some shit happened. Suddenly your treatment options are limited or whatever and stuff like that. So it's the same thing. If you have orthopedic issues, you have sore knee, you're 40 pounds heavy, you're gonna have it's gonna be a big deal, a bigger deal than it has.
Yeah.
So you put your odds, try to play your poker hand with a full house, not try to bluff a pair of 2.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. So when they tell you about luck and genetics and stuff like that, go fuck yourself, really? Right? It's like, no, I'm doing stuff you're not willing to do. I remember I don't drink, so New Year's morning, a long time ago, I'm at St. Anne Street in Pierrefonds there. If you turn right on the... There's a nice hill there going up, I think. So I get up on New Year's morning and I'm tired, but I didn't get drunk. I didn't drink. I don't drink anymore. So when your parents were drunks, it makes you drunk or it makes you dry.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'm going to go St. Anne Street. I used to live on Wagner Street in Pierrefonds, so not that far. Drive the car, park the car. I'm going to start running the hill. So I'm running the hill. And this guy is coming back from a party. I don't know if he's driving drunk, but looks like, opens his car window next to me when I'm on top. He goes, and it was so funny because you could smell the booze in the car. Like, when you got, even if you're not drunk. Yeah. He goes, who the hell does that on New Year's Day? I said, skinny people do. And I look in the car, the gut. He goes, damn, you got a point. Window comes up and he drives. But fuck, it was funny. So it's like,
Yeah.
It's like...
Put the odds in your...
You got to build the discipline, man. You got to build the discipline or else you're going to make it. You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
It's...
Or else you end up in a walker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, it's like... So I never had fear of the walker. I said, I'm going to crawl. I'm going to hop on one leg. I'm going to do whatever it has. But I'm not... So, I used to go to Monster Gym and hobble between, try to do some stuff, try to do this, try to do that. I put the Olympic bar, and I did a rack pull. It's like a deadlift, but halfway up because I couldn't get down anymore. And I rack pulled like 370 pounds. So it was just there's psychological. It was not for my... It was just for my mind. I need to get, it's like I need to do something that's going to make me feel like I'm not a cripple yet, you know? Well,
now you're back. Your hip's done.
That's
it's
right.
done. Back to jiu-jitsu, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
for those that want to check out Marc, if you're in Montreal, 7 a.m. class.
7 a.m.,
If you like to wake up early, 7 a.m. class. If you want privates, he'll show you some crazy leg torques that really are unpleasant if you're on the receiving end.
That's right.
But I appreciate you being on the show.
My pleasure, buddy.
Thanks for coming on.
You've been listening to Let's Talk Jiu-Jitsu with Raymond Terrence. Go follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Turn on notifications and press that like button. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the mat.